So the background of the Lovies Awards is we became very good friends with the guys who run, the team who run the Webby Awards in New York, and we just fell in love with it because the spirit there was so amazing and inclusive and also incredibly broad. So it wasn't a kind of industry clique, it was very, it was very broad church that sort of brought, incredibly sort of deep technical, engineering types in under its wing, as it did people like David Bowie and Prince and huge celebrities who in one way, shape or form would use the internet in interesting ways. So we just thought that was such a fresh look at this industry we spend all our days in, and a way of kind of elevating it and presenting it as a more sort of full-blooded cultural thing rather than it being very sort of more industry focused. And that was the beginning of it really. So we worked with the team to bring it over here and also give it a European kind of spin. I was going to say spin, that's not the best words. It's more a European mandate that fitted. So when we started talking to them, we were talking about the Oscars and how the foreign language film is quite patronising, and you just couldn't do that with any grace. So when we set up, we thought we would try and judge the different country entries in native tongue, because we just felt like lots of good stuff would fall at the first fence because it was being judged by primarily English-speaking juries, and it just wouldn't get through, and that's not fair because obviously even though it's on the internet, it doesn't have to necessarily be in English. That would be stupid, right? So we fixed that, and that's how it's been running for the last 4 years. So today it's actually a winners party, so it's not the reveal, it's already been revealed. At the winners party, we've got people from, winners from all over Europe who were judged, in the native language and probably wouldn't be here otherwise if we didn't. I think when you start something new, especially when it's, when it's like something else, when it's comparable to something that already exists, it's quite easy because you can just say it's like that, but we've changed the name. I think this is harder because it hasn't really existed before, and it takes a while to build the momentum up and for people to warm to it and understand what we're trying to do. And it just takes a while. I mean, everybody knows that it takes a while to build a brand, and get people interested and attract entries, and start building equity in the in the trophy really, so that people feel like when they win something, they really really means something. And obviously to clients and industry, it really carries some weight, and that's really beginning to to kick in now in a big way. The way the jury works is quite different to most juries. So most industry juries tend to pick from the kind of the hot shots of the day. We take a kind of a more long-term view. So we try and handpick, or we do handpick, people that we feel are the real kind of innovators across industry, and again across industries as well. So they're not just kind of pure internet practitioners necessarily. They could be doing all sorts of things with a strong kind of capability and vision that within their internet practice. So we bring them in as jury, and then they're there permanently until they die, or they retire and they don't want to do it anymore, or we just select them out if they become boring and rubbish. But they, so it's this body called the IADAS, which is the International Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences, and yeah, the judges are brought in every year, and the judging experience is great. And actually, for most of the jury, they're just really happy to see a good cross section of really good work, and because they're sort of more established individuals, they're not so sort of fashion led. That reflects in what surfaces to the top. So. So you have these kind of, I think the jury are better at sifting out things where there's just a kind of, maybe a deeper story that's maybe not right on the button on the fashion, but it's just, it's just great. And when you look back at the things, that have been awarded the last couple of years, and certainly when you look back into the Webby catalogue, what you find are things that still stand out, those things that are more timeless. So I think that's what we're trying to promote really, are the really timeless kind of significant works that sort of operate outside the sort of consensus of the sort of industry clique, if you like.
The initial brief was to talk really specifically to an incredibly niche target audience, which was 14 to 19-year-old kids in inner city London. And the very specific brief was to build awareness for a guy called Derrick Rose, who is a massive basketball star out in America.